Hey, welcome to Famous When I'm Dead, where creators share with you the tools that they use to thrive while they're still alive. Today we have a very special guest. He's a Hawaiian artist. He is a caricature artist known for his raw, inky, splashy kind of style. He also started Sketch Bangers, where his buddy spins records while he makes drawings. He's one of the artists that really embraced the digital space. He's embraced NFTs and been successful with that. We talk a lot about that in this interview. He's even started to get into some short animations and kind of GIF style animations on his NFT work. A Hawaiian artist who is also an award-winning caricature artist. Great guy, great conversation here today with Salah Kudari. So I hope you enjoy the interview and let's get into it.
How's it in Prague right now? Are you guys still there, right?
Yeah. Turn you up a little bit. Yeah, it's good, man. I'm working on the bridge now. That's kind of coming back. And then on the 21st, they're gonna completely open the borders again. So that should be pretty insane. I'm ready for that.
Wow, so you guys have been kind of locked up in a way, like tourist-wise, up until now.
Yeah, man,
Wow.
it's been pretty bad.
Because I was there with to visit you in 2019, at the beginning of
hmm
2019, and man, that is just a tourist attraction. It's Disneyland, really.
Yeah.
There's just streets just packed full of tourists, and I'm sure the economy runs off of it quite heavily, and especially you and, us caricature artists and stuff like that, and having that spot, I was so happy for you. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, the craziest thing in the world has ever happened and put you on hold for a while. So it'll
Yeah.
be exciting to see how you do when things open up.
Yeah, I mean, it is an awesome spot. The tourism definitely was kind of insane, but it's still good. The Charles Bridge is still good. I didn't never went up there. I never tried to get up on that bridge because I didn't really like any of the artists up there. Like I just didn't kind of respect what they were doing, I guess, or I wasn't. I don't know. I felt like there were just a bunch of kind of old guys that learned how to do it 30 years ago and made
Right.
a fortune off of it. But since I've been up there, there's a couple of guys that are, they have some good skill but they're still all really old, man. They're just a bunch of old dudes up there, like nobody's really like bringing anything fresh up there. So, yeah.
You go to Europe, you go to La Ramblas in Barcelona,
hmm
or same places in was it Florence and other places. It's just the old guard is over there, man. They've made their money for 50 years or something like that, just drawing
Yeah.
really quick, kind of looks like you stuff. And
Yeah.
it's kind of a commodity for them. It's not really the art form as much,
Yeah.
you know. So it's cool to see new blood going on the bridge, that St.
Yeah.
Charles Bridge.
I think that's what I was afraid of. I was afraid of like kind of falling falling in that trap, of being the hack, But but yeah, it's been good, man. I mean, it's funny cuz like people kind of they were they were like, "Oh, people aren't going to buy that, that style, like it's too extreme." And man, the best days I have are the days that I'm like beasting people, like when I'm just completely go nuts. They're like, "Oh, do me," and I'll have a huge crowd.
That's the dream right there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, for all the hundreds of people that walk, thousands of people that walk by that bridge every day, there has to be a good percentage of them that have that, sensibility or that sense of humor or just sense of adventure, you
Yeah.
know, that
Yeah.
wanna and you stand out above the rest, because if you're able to do that type of work. So
Yeah.
that's really fun. That's really cool.
Yeah, I've been trying to introduce them to, my caricature artist friends, and like I'm showing them the books. Like I brought Rejected out there, and some people are laughing and some people are like, "Oh, I can never do that. I would never do that." And I'm just like bringing every day, or every week I'll bring a new book and kind of show everybody. So it's interesting to see their reactions. And yeah, I mean, people, since I've been up there, there's been like 5 artists that started taking credit cards finally. Like they weren't, none of them had the card reader.
You got to get the
And
Venmo. You got to get I don't know what you do in Europe. I don't know if Europe is pretty hip to all that kind of stuff.
yeah, I
Probably,
mean,
right?
I just have a card reader, like a mobile card
Mm,
reader. And
yeah.
I started taking Bitcoin too, but nobody's paying in Bitcoin yet. But people notice, they walk by, they're like, "Oh, he takes Bitcoin." I hear people in the background saying that. So I think pretty soon, maybe next weekend, someone will pay in Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole weird. Yeah, it's so weird. Bitcoin is, I'm not an expert. I don't know anything, but of course, it kind of, you get absorbed by like what's happening. Like I got to get some of it. Like, I can't be completely, you know, uh it's kind of like this FOMO. Like I have to have some some Bitcoin, and I still don't know what it's about as much, but there's something interesting about that because if you're holding Bitcoin, you don't really want to sell it. You don't really want to like let go of it, and it's kind of weird. Like, can't wait till there's actually like a real exchange where people are actually, getting services, for their Bitcoins or whatever cryptos. A lot of it's just really speculative where they hold it and they want it to, increase by like tenfold and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting how that works.
Yeah, I think that's a thing that people are still confused about. Yeah, I do want to talk to you about that. I want to talk about NFTs and stuff too, but maybe you could introduce yourself a little bit. So, I'll probably just do a different introduction now since we've already started chatting, but do you want to maybe tell people who don't already know you a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, yeah. You asked me to send you a bio, and I was going to send something, but I really don't have one. I'll just, just wing it, really.
So let me just like go through the stereotypes. So you're like listening to Brother Is next to the volcano in a grass
Hey, man.
skirt.
Like, I don't
You
even want to show you, but I have a ukulele somewhere, but I'm not playing it on here, I promise you. But I'm trying to learn, but
I
but
have a
yeah,
yeah, I
it's
have
I took this picture back here just a few hours ago. So the
wow.
sun just went down, I guess. Well, the sun went down about 3 hours ago, but that was kind of the sunset out in Coco Marina on Oahu, and it was really nice. It looked better than what that was.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it was really nice. Yeah, so I've been. Let's see. Let's start from the beginning. Hmm. I'm an artist, illustrator, caricature artist. I think I make most of my living at the moment doing caricatures for um, virtual events. Like corporate events and stuff like that. I'll do it on Zoom and Skype and whatnot. As entertainment for certain companies or for parties and stuff like that. That's what I'm doing now. I've been doing that usually live for about 10 years, something like that. Usually in the Bay Area. I'm from Hawaii, and I moved to San Francisco in 2002, which is a long time ago, and to go to art school. I went there to go to the Academy of Art University over there and study illustration. Actually, tried to study animation first, and then I think I switched to illustration the second semester or something. And went there for quite a while. Um, Started getting into caricature stuff. I think I got a job one year at the zoo, just I think it was on Craigslist or newspaper or something. And I just felt like I just needed to prove to myself that worst comes to worst, I can go and do something like immediate, like I can just get a piece of paper and make money off of that piece of paper with a pencil or a pen. And I slowly proved that that was possible, and I didn't really even know that there was more possibilities, like working for corporations and you know doing weddings and events and stuff like that. And that's what I've been doing uh, for the last 10 years anyway. um, what else about me? um,
Well, let me ask you about that
yeah.
a little bit. Like, I think that's kind of how a lot of people get started. They're like, "Oh, I'll just do this for the summer, or I'll like try this. This could always be a backup," and then it becomes like the full-time thing. So, like, did you like after you started, like after you realized that that could be a full-time thing and pretty good money, um, did you have kind of reservations about doing that, or were you like, oh, I want to be more professional, or I want to try something back in animation or whatever?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think left out a pretty important part of my story is I grew up with a father that did caricatures in Hawaii, in Waikiki, for like 30, 40 years.
Wow.
So I grew up with a caricature artist. Like, he did retail caricatures in Waikiki, this very popular tourist destination in Oahu. And you know, as just a normal thing for me. And but like, I wanted to do different art. Growing up, I was really into Wolverine and Lobo and different comic book art. And I wanted to do comic books or animation or something, like, never really thought I was ever going to be a caricature artist. But so I went to art school and studied and had like all these possibilities, or all these maybe opportunities. Like, what should I do? Should I do like you know 3D animation? Should I do illustrate? I tried to think of all these different avenues I could could do. And um somehow caricature just, it was definitely like the backup, you know
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there was like once I started doing it, once I you know really started enjoying the art form. I've always kind of enjoyed the art form of like exaggerating features and stuff like that. But once I enjoyed that, I felt like sense of autonomy, like I could be my own boss. I can, that kind of stuff. My
Yeah.
sister, on the other hand, is another artist, and she's an amazing artist and works right now for Disney and stuff like that. So, but she went through the whole studio. You should have her on too, if she, feels like it. But she's really great. And but she went through the whole studio route, Disney, like Weta and all these different things. So I kind of saw like how that worked, and I'm super like proud of her and everything. But it felt like it wasn't the path I wanted to go down.
Hmm.
You know,
It was like too much kind of cog in a wheel kind of
a
work,
lot of
like assembly
structure,
line.
fuck, hard work. I almost, yeah, a lot of hard work, like crazy hard work.
Yeah.
Um, for me, I always want to be able to make my living doing art, but also hopefully give myself enough time and space to explore my own personal art. So
Hmm.
that's kind of where I am now. And that's kind of you know um where I'm going with the NFT thing right now, if you ever want to, if we're talking about that.
Yeah, that's the thing about autonomy and stuff is that's something that Tony Sabota talked about. Like he was doing caricatures in the summer, and then in the winter he would study painting. And yeah, that's one of the great things. There's like a couple of downsides to always being kind of an entertainment sort of artist, which is that basically you're working weekends, and when people are out having fun, like you're the entertainment there. Um, but like the other great thing about that is like in the off season, you basically have, hopefully you have a pile of money and you can just kind of do whatever you want in the off season. So that's a big deal, definitely. Um, Yeah, I mean that it's funny that you like had this other path because I think that's how a lot of caricature artists do it. And for me, I went to like a fine art school, and they
Mhm.
would just stick their nose up at caricature.
Oh, total. Same
It was,
here. Same with my school for
oh
sure.
yeah.
I think people's worst nightmare was to be stuck, drawing caricatures on the sidewalk or something like that in New York City or something like that. I've heard that actually before. I'm like, that's their worst nightmare. I'm like, if I can do that, I'm fine. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's kind of adventurous, and there's a romanticism about it to me to be able to post up anywhere and kind of like make your days, you know, make some money and feed yourself, and
Yeah.
travel and all these things. You can do so many things with it,
Yeah.
just with that skill. It's like a people skill too, and like a hustling skill and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, definitely.
uh,
Yeah, that's a big thing about that is like just being able to like take a piece of paper and a marker or whatever and just go at it. That's just such a I mean, I look at businesses around the bridge and around Prague, like where I work, and uh, man, their overhead must just be insane. Like, there's a guy who sells souvenirs, like right outside where I store my booth, and like they just sell, whatever scratchy souvenirs or whatever,
mhm.
and he's paying like $1,000 a month for this tiny little hole in the wall, like literally hole in the wall shop. And it's like, shit, I pay like, I don't know, 1/4 that for rent, like on the bridge, and I get way more traffic. And then
Mhm.
on top of that, I don't have any electricity bills. I don't have to buy any, I just buy paper. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, let's talk about NFTs. So you sold your first NFT like what? Well, first off, why don't we try to explain? Maybe you can explain to people what NFTs are because I've tried and it's.
I think I've tried to explain it before. I've always just heard other people explain it, and it made sense. It it took me a while to make sense. Actually, the first time I heard of an NFT, it was a friend of mine in San Francisco, and this is like 3 years ago. And she knew I was an artist, and she's like, "Oh, well," she was working with this thing that they're trying to get artists to um, get on these platforms or put their art onto the blockchain. And I was like, what is I don't, she sat me down and I listened for like a good half hour, and I was just like, what? Like I still don't. I must be really slow. Like I didn't get it. um but let me see, what
Yeah, it's a
is an
weird thing. Like,
NFT?
I think people, it's a hard thing to kind of grasp. I think because people kind of take money and currency for granted. They're like, oh yeah, I just put the money in the bank and it goes on my card, and like that's like they don't get the background information about how like all of those transactions need to be verified and all of that. So yeah, I mean I think you have to kind of have a basic understanding of blockchain technology to understand NFTs.
Yeah. Well, I guess you can start at the beginning where what an NFT is a non-fungible token. I didn't know that word until a couple years ago. Actually, I don't think I knew that word until like a few months ago. Fungible, I don't know what that meant. And what it means, something fungible is um like Bitcoin is fungible, I guess. Like a
Like
dollar is fungible.
you can break it down into units, like it can be divided into separate pieces.
It's like the same thing. It could have value, like it could have I'm gonna butcher this. It could have value, but it's the same thing. I can trade you a dollar for a dollar, and you'll be fine with it. You don't care if there's like a different serial number or anything like that. Okay, I have a dollar, like, but if you have an NFT, it's a one unique thing. You're trading, let's say, a piece of art for a dollar. They might be the same value, but one of them is like super, it's really unique, and there's only one of them in the world, I guess.
Hmm.
So that's the idea, I guess. And the way they do that is Oh my God. Um, it's so funny to try to explain it, because it's, like I said, it took me, I mean, it's really simple, but like for me to understand it, it was it took me like years, I guess. I don't know. But how do
Well, I
um
mean, I think like one like the kind of kindergarten concept or whatever, like the easiest way is that like it's a way to digitally verify and also to
right,
like mint or rarify a digital asset, whether that's an image or a document or a song or a video or whatever. It's a way that you can put like a digital stamp on let's
un
say an image, and
right,
then that makes that thing like specifically rare. And you can do like 10, you can make like an edition of 10. So
right,
before the digital time, like for example, like a printmaker, before the like coming up of like mass scale printing, when they actually made prints on print machines, like a printing press, they would mark each one, like the artist would sign each one like this is an edition of 100, and they would put 101 2 slash
right.
103 like
It's
that.
exactly that. Yeah, pretty much.
But it's a
And
digital way of doing it using the blockchain. So, and then to explain the blockchain, that's like a different video. So it's not
like
that difficult,
I'm
but
so not like an expert on this, you know. I like I understand as much as I do, and enough to help me, you know, become comfortable doing it. But other than that, like, man, I'm not an expert on it, you know. But I like to think of it as like with these NFTs, like why would someone, you know, buy them, or why would someone want to hold one or sell one or anything like that? Like I think of it like trading cards or comic books, collectibles,
mhm,
something that, you know, back then made me like, why is this Babe Ruth card worth, you know, like $1 million or whatever? I don't know how much it really was worth, but it's literally a piece of cardboard, like something
mhm,
printed on it. You can literally like reproduce it, like a million copies of it, but it's not authenticated. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like,
yeah,
so the digital like kind of timestamp is authenticating, you know, whatever you want to mint, which is, you know, you're putting either an image, audio file, a video, something like that onto this blockchain technology where it's like um, it has a place in time that's always there that you can always go back to. It's a ledger where you can
mhm,
always go back and see where that thing was first um, put on that blockchain. You
mhm,
know, so
yeah,
it's supposed to be there forever. You know, that idea. So the idea of something that's authenticated that way, then there's some value to it. Like people might want to pay, you know, $70 million for it.
yeah,
That all those, it's crazy because, you know, the things that come out in the news, or, you know, the big um, names and stuff like that, like of course everyone's gonna think like, oh, what is every, you know, these little things, these, you know, JPEGs, how are they worth millions of dollars, or is anyone's, you know, can anyone make $1 million off of these things? And it's just I doubt it, but I think they're still here to stay. You know, this is going to be something, you know, moving forward that people are going to be interested in for, well, because people just, you know, they love novelty, you know, like um you know, we literally scroll past like thousands of images on Instagram. We don't even have the time to like most of them, you know. Like
yeah,
we hardly look at them, you know what I mean? But if something is kind of authenticated and you can prove that it's a unique piece that's, you know, out in the whole world or whatever, in in the cloud or whatever in the blockchain, then it has value. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how I think of it, but I'm not the best person to explain it
I
really.
think that a big thing about it is like the whole blockchain technology in general is it's decentralizing the it the technology itself is good because it decentralizes. It's not just about money, it's decentralizing information. So like if you think about it right now, you have like Google, YouTube, there's like basically five companies that have everybody's information, like way more information about yourself and your behavior than you would ever even know. There's these super powerful algorithms that have everything figured out basically as far as how you behave and how you buy and how you like act online. And the thing is like right now, if I wanted to get my medical information, like it's not so easy, but like other companies have all of that, like the entire history. Like one time I went to the doctor a couple years back and they were relaying information. The nurse was relaying information, or the receptionist, to my doctor, and she was like telling him about my whole family's history, like my whole family's history of whatever kind of ailments or whatever. I'm like, wait a minute, I want that information. And that's the thing about blockchain, like it decentralizes all of that information and it allows you to hold the information that's actually yours. And it can do this with money and it can do this with, NFTs and whatever. The thing about it though is like already you can see, I mean, this is always going to happen. Like the people who have a, ambition and money are people that like are the ones that are going to consolidate more of that power. Like it's already happening with the blockchain. Like there's already like, mining farms and stuff that have 100 million, computers or whatever that are doing this. But basically you can be with NFT and with cryptocurrency, like you can essentially be your own bank. Like you don't need, like you're verifying all those transactions with your computer, and you don't need like an external bank to like do all that stuff for you. So that's, I think
Huh.
for me, that's like the most exciting thing about the technology is that there's still a lot of problems with it. Like with NFTs. I mean, I could take that same file, and change one pixel and then like mint that on a different platform and then sell
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
I
So,
think there's just kind of unwritten rules in that case, and it's really all about your reputation, like if you're an artist and you sell something for a certain amount, even in the real art world, you know what I mean? You could literally draw a Mona Lisa and then Mona Lisa with glasses or Mona Lisa with this and that, and you could do that, the first person that bought it might be kind of pissed that like I thought I had something unique. So
mhm.
it's really up to you, like how you want your reputation, because value, like when it comes to like artists or pieces of art, really depends a lot, really strongly, with the artist's reputation, really, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's already like controversies when people doing what you're talking about, like, selling something in one platform and then on another platform selling the same thing or something just tweaked a little differently, and it's public opinion really. It's if it's cool or not. Like if someone's mad and um, they feel like they got ripped off, maybe you're not going to sell another piece after that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it's really depends. It's really uh, up to like up to you to create like a good you know um, yeah, persona. Yeah.
So you're on a couple of different, or you're just on OpenSea, right? That's where you sell your stuff.
So that's where I started. It was not curated. Um, there was all these there's super rare and what's that, Nifty Gateway and different things. They're quite curated. Or Foundation is one that people talked about a lot, because the only way you can get into that one is if someone in there, like, they have a couple invites, and so people are always asking for invites to these platforms. I didn't know anybody who was on those platforms that would give me one, and so so I went to OpenSea, which is like the biggest Ethereum, I think, based blockchain NFT platform.
Hmm.
And so anyone can go. Um, you don't have to like sign up or like have people validate you to be on there. Anyone can go on there. They just pay a certain like percent in gas fees, and then they're able to put their artwork on there. So I started putting stuff on. I know we're kind of skipping over some stuff, but so
Well, the good thing about OpenSea for anyone who wants to get in on it is that they have a thing where you can put your artwork up, and it's not you don't have to pay the gas fee until somebody buys it, and then when they buy it, then you pay the gas fee. But
and the gas fee is just a transfer fee. It's kind of like that Ticketmaster or whatever, but it's dependent on I guess the market at the time. It fluctuates quite a bit, and um, it can be kind of expensive to mint, like to put one piece up on to any of these platforms, like $50 to even 100, at sometimes a couple $100 in order to put their stuff on there. And so when these gas fees kind of like kept going up, a lot of people took a step back and was like, I don't know if this is worth it. There was other platforms that had a different um, kind of mechanism, different blockchain. Like there's Ethereum, and then there's Tezos, which is the other platform that I'm on now, which is there's almost almost no gas fees in that
is it
platform.
is it called Tezos?
Tezos is the blockchain, just like Ethereum and Bitcoin are the blockchains and the tokens of the blockchains. Like you buy these Tezos coins, and
What's the name of the platform?
there's the platform I'm using is Hic et Nunc, which is
Hick?
a Hic et Nunc, HICETNUNC, right? And it's like a tongue twister for some people, and it's really weird, but I guess it's Latin for here and now.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
it's a newer platform that uses this Tezos blockchain, which technology that which you don't the gas fees are like less than 25 cents, something like
Huh.
that.
I'll
Yeah,
check
and
that out because
transfer fees are even less. So it allows you to do a lot more things. Allows you to be a lot more free in order to to set up um, your artwork on these platforms, because you're not really spending much money. The overhead is ridiculously less,
mm.
and
So
supposedly
what made
there's
you decide to move from OpenSea over there? Was it, I mean, because OpenSea doesn't have any gas fees until you sell stuff. Is that what it was? You wanted a lower gas fee?
so so my experience was yeah, so that you have to you pay the first gas fee, which or something, it was like $100 roughly, to get started, and then every piece after that, like you don't have to pay the fee up front. Like either the buyer pays the fee or you pay the fee. It's kind of weird depending on if you sell it outright. You put a price, let's say uh zero point 0.1 ETH or something like that, which at the time was like $200. um if you put it out there and someone just bought it, they would have to pay the gas fee. The buyer would pay it, so they pay like maybe $250 worth of Ethereum to buy a $200 worth thing, or I think if you had it on, if you put it up for auction and someone bid on it, um, the seller would pay the gas fee. So someone was kind of paying no matter what. It's kind of nice that you don't have to pay the gas fee up front, um, in order to show all your work, so that's a good thing. So you can literally fill up maybe 20, 100 pieces if you really want to, um, for not much money. But once it comes down to selling it and people buying it and trading it and stuff like that, um, it becomes stickier because of that gas fee. Becomes
Hmm.
like kind of a burden, So without that burden, you're able to price your pieces a little lower if you want,
Mm.
or price or make a lot of additions and price them very low. Let's say like um, I made a piece and I minted it, and I wanted to make 100 editions of it. You know, if I did on an Ethereum 100 edition piece, and sold it for $20 worth, we can just do it like dollars instead of all these things. Let's say $20 worth each. They would have to pay the $20 plus $50 every single time. It would
Yeah.
be literally paying more on gas fees than they would be paying on the piece itself. And it could be
Hmm.
worth it because it's quite speculative. So people are like there's definitely people that are trying to like gather as much NFTs as they can, or they think it's going to go up in value because it's like the beginning of this whole phenomenon, So um, yeah, it could be worth paying the gas fees and stuff, but um, I think for myself, I feel like it's kind of ridiculous to pay that much,
Hmm.
So I go on this Hic Nunc platform and pay like 25 cents every time I mint something, and in that case, I can put the art out for the price that I think it's worth, and I can also, like I said, put out like editions of 100, and people can, they can consume art in a more bite-sized kind of way,
Hmm.
like everyone, like instead of having to pay $1,000 for a piece, maybe 100 people can pay $100, you know what I mean? So you can you can you can try different things out. It's a lot
Hmm.
more liquid in that way, or like just malleable and stuff in that way.
What did you do with your, do you still have those pieces over on OpenSea and then you started uploading new pieces to the new platform?
Yeah, and I think I'm still gonna put pieces on OpenSea. The thing is, with all these different platforms, it kind of gives us artists like opportunities to kind of experiment with different things in a way. Maybe I don't have the same type of artwork on every platform. Maybe I change it a little bit or have a theme on this one, and it kind of allows people to be a little creative in that way. So
Mm.
the stuff I have on OpenSea, they're all one of one pieces,
Mm.
because pretty much because like if you're gonna pay for a piece, at the moment, like I think I'm charging around $200 for each piece on there. And so the $50 gas fee or $30 gas fee or whatever it is, it's not as bad as if it was like, the piece was $50 and you're paying double, you know.
Mm.
Um, so I'm putting pieces up there that are one of ones over there, and then I'm doing more additions on the Hic et Nunc stuff, maybe like
Mm.
20 pieces or 5 pieces or whatnot. And I'm experimenting with one of ones on Hic et Nunc and stuff too. So um, just yeah, I don't have many pieces up right now yet, but it's exciting to like um, have a place to kind of create art to, I don't know, fulfill anyway. That's how I look at it.
Have you
It's like this.
noticed there's a trend now of people who are like they're collectives, you know? There's like a collective, a group of NFT artists that have a thing. Have you thought about getting into that at all? Because if you
Yeah.
do, I want to join. I'm on your team.
Oh man, yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, I think as long as you team up with kind of similar, or like just people that you vibe with, then that would be really cool. And I think it does help a lot, just for marketing and just getting more people out there and getting more um, views and eyes on art in any platform. I think I think
Yeah.
I think it is cool to have little collectives here and there. So
Because
yeah,
right
you're
now I'm on OpenSea, and then I had some pieces that I put up on Rarible, but I
mhm.
don't know what happened. The Rarible platform is like not intuitive. And somehow my pieces were not approved, or I don't know exactly how that worked, but I probably lost money trying to gas feed them things. But anyway, now I have all my stuff on OpenSea, so I'll definitely check out the however you pronounce that. I wrote it down. Um,
Hick et Nunc. It's so
it,
weird. Once it came on the scene, I guess it was just a couple months ago or whatever, and I just heard about it. People started talking about it. One important thing is, I'm pretty active on Clubhouse, if you guys have heard of it. And it's did I give you a thing to Clubhouse? I don't know,
well,
like
I
an
don't have an
invite.
iPhone, so I don't have the iPhone yet.
You don't have any iPads or anything like
I
that,
have an
huh?
iPad and I'm on a
That'll
Mac. Yeah.
that'll work. Yeah, the iPad will work now. Well,
Oh,
actually,
cool.
I think Android works too, but it's better on the iMac or iPad because there's better features on it at the moment because it's all in beta and stuff. But that there's communities on there which are kind of like at the front of what's going on with the NFT spaces. People are talking about it. It's just information um, is just traveling really quickly in that way.
Hmm.
People, what it is it's um, a voice social media app where people going on pretty much like conference calls. It's
Hmm.
all video. You have your Twitter and your Instagram connected to your profile, so that's how people see your art and stuff like that. But other than
Mm.
that, it's pretty much there might be like a room topic, and then maybe like 5 to like 100 people in these rooms talking about stuff. So that way, like information just spreads really quickly, and so people join groups. They try to check out these different platforms. Is Hicketnunk thing. There's other platforms like Screensaver, and that's a whole other blockchain. I think it's Matic. I don't know much about that, but that one's also very cheap gas
Hmm.
fees. So people are into that. And if I stay off of Clubhouse for a week, I'm like it's like being like a year away from
Oh,
from like yeah, the world.
have you heard of Drawsome.com? Of course you haven't, because it hasn't officially launched yet. But I have talked to Manny Abatizian, the founder, about it in detail, and it's gonna be awesome. The Drawsome app is an exciting new platform that's coming soon for artists and art lovers that is going to change the game. It's a creative social marketplace where artists can post their artwork, receive commissions, and even turn each post into a print on demand product that's drop shipped directly to your customers. That means people can choose if they want your design on a print, mug, t shirt, whatever, and you don't have to deal with the printing or shipping. You want some of that, don't you? Hop on over to drawsome.com, that's DRAWSOME.com, and sign up to be the first to receive updates and news as soon as it's launched in iOS, Android, and web.
It's like things happen so quickly, and
You've sold some, yeah? You've sold a few pieces, right?
yeah, I sold a few pieces
Nice.
on OpenSea, and a lot of it is through people on Clubhouse. They have they kind of organize uh, these rooms where people just talk about their art, and talk about their NFTs and stuff like that. And there might be people there that want to collect them, and so that's how they, there's a lot of marketplaces like that on that app. I
I
think
think
also,
another. Go ahead, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say Twitter is really like, as artists, we're usually used to Instagram as like our preferred platform to show art and try to get as many followers on. But I think the game in the NFT world and the the blockchain world and stuff is on Twitter. And I think it makes sense because on Twitter you can like hyperlink a lot of stuff. You can link stuff straight to your OpenSea account or your Hick and Nunk account and stuff like that, and it's easy for other people to share it. So it makes sense. It's more of a sharing type of app that I just started having to get used to because I've neglected Twitter for probably 10 years or 8 years or
Yeah,
however
yeah.
long I've been on it. Never understood it, and now I'm starting to kind of learn about it, which helps
Nice.
with that, selling NFTs and stuff like that.
There's another question like I just made. Do you know Mark Reblay, the guy who does the crazy kind of like he's like a DJ but he sings and he's got this mustache and he like blew up in the last couple years. He
Is he the
like
guy that does this?
yeah,
No,
yeah.
is that
That
him?
guy, yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I all of a sudden I know who he is. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I should
I
just go
know
like this.
probably
Yeah.
on TikTok and just like this.
Yeah.
Um,
So I
dude,
did a piece. Go ahead.
no, yeah, I want to hear it.
Yeah, I did a piece of like he has this came out with this song called "Get the Fuck Out of Bed, Bitch," and so I just took a motion design class, like an 8-week motion design class, and so I took that video and I ran it through an AI, and then I did some motion design stuff to it. I spent a ton of time on it, but I just minted that on OpenSea, and I'm
Oh, word.
trying to get it to him. Like I want him to see it, which is probably going to be pretty difficult. But I guess the question that I would assume that a lot of people have, and the guy who already agreed to like buy, my friend actually commissioned me to make this because he's got a hard time getting out of bed. And he the question he had was like, where do people put this? Like I mean, you can put it on a screen. You can like frame a TV screen and like put a USB and like run that. But like, is there an online gallery or you know what I mean? Like, when is that going to happen? When are people going to have their own galleries?
So that's what, a huge question from, people would be asking, from the traditional art world, trying to transition to like this, this NFT art world. Like how do you, consume the artwork, like a Rothko or anything? Like, do you go straight in front of your TV and just sit in there and, you know what I mean? Like how it's, it's limited by a TV screen. I think there's screens that people are building for that. But my experience, it's really interesting because I don't know if you've bought an NFT yet. Have you bought one?
I've put some bids, but I don't actually own one.
Yeah. So I think that's like anyone selling them should definitely buy a few, one or two, and it doesn't have to be expensive or anything. Especially if you're on Hick and Nunk, it's really like reasonably priced often. Um, but you want to feel like understand like what it feels like to own one, because you can't really understand it until you do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I can literally, drag a picture and put it in a file, off the internet, and I'll feel nothing about it. But owning something that's either rare or just like makes you happy, a piece of art that makes you happy. um Maybe you want to be the first one to get it, or like it might sell out. These ideas, like once you have it and then you see them sell out or something, you're like, oh man, I'm so happy I got it. And you literally look
Mm.
like on your wallet. These wallets, or these platforms are able to show what you own, to yourself and to other people. And there's it's weird, but there's like this sort of joy that of ownership, or just collecting, or just that I look at my collection almost every day. It's so weird. I open the computer and I'm like looking at it, not just because I just love the art, which there's, that's part of it. I love the art. There's some pieces that I'm like, oh dude, this is definitely gonna go up in value. I'm gonna check on it, see like if anyone is buying it for this much, you know, because there might be edition of 5 or 10 or something, and I have one out of the 10, and I want to see if other people are selling it for more than I bought it for. It's kind of fun. I don't know if you've ever you ever like, collect baseball cards and or football
I
cards or anything like
didn't,
that?
but there were different things that I collected when I was younger, like Pogs. You remember Pogs?
Pogs, dude. I'm from Hawaii, so
Dude.
passion orange guava. I don't know if it was huge here. I know it was huge everywhere, but it was huge
Yeah.
in Hawaii. There was literally like an economy, like an ecosystem just
Yeah.
popped up overnight and then got, smashed overnight as well.
Dude,
But
people would like fist fight over those. It was
dude,
like
I mean,
gambling.
it was like everyone's like, you know, gateway drug into gambling.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
literally had your pogs and you like we would go to like a basketball game where our parents were like watching the game and we'd be like under the staircase, like, slamming pogs. I'm like, oh dude, I'm gonna get his thing, I'm gonna get that, and then you
Yeah.
leave with more pogs than you came and you felt like pretty good. And the opposite if you lost, but
Oh
you
man,
didn't even
I
know these kids, like it
that
was
was
crazy.
my biggest like emotional drop, I think, when I was a kid. Like I had my buddy and I were playing and he had this like brass, weighted slammer, and I had like a stack of 10 of my favorite and he just dropped it and like the whole pile just picked up and flipped over like that and I'm like, no, like it's not fair. And that was like the end, man. It was horrible.
uh
They're just like plastic, or they're like, cardboard, round cardboard discs.
so I mean there was like a secondary market for pogs and stuff like that too, and they were rare. But what I remember growing up was collecting football cards and not knowing anything about the sport, but then just being like, oh, there was like a Beckett, there was like this, maybe biannual, or I don't know if it was monthly, magazine that came out that had, kind of a listing of what these things are kind of worth on the market, open market. I remember finding like Emmett Smith's like rookie card at the time. I didn't know who he was. I was like a little kid and being like, it's worth $4. This is awesome. He's my favorite player in the world now.
Yeah, yeah.
Like to me, I was like, I got two Emmett Smith rookie cards. I think they're still worth $4, but
They're worth
like
350 now
30
with the
years
gas
later.
fee. Yeah.
But yeah, but that idea, that kind of like that fun of like, checking in on seeing what what your collection's worth. I think that's kind of the same thing when people collect coins, they collect, Warhammer, and they collect all these things. I think there's definitely a whole other level when it comes to fine art, the fine art world, which I still don't even understand in the real world why certain pieces are worth like $100 million or whatever.
Mhm.
And so I'm not that surprised that people, sold his pieces for, 70 million, which is awesome. Good for him. Good for us. You know
Yeah, I
what I
mean,
mean?
I think people got to realize too, like, I know for me, I see that and I'm like, I have like sometimes a delusional amount of self-esteem. Um, so I think I have to
I think we
remind.
talked about that before. It's so funny that you said that.
Like I think I'm like, yeah. But I think people should. I think that it's good to remember that like Beeple was making artwork every day for 13 years. Like, can
For
you
free.
make artwork every day for a year? If you can do that, then your value is probably going to go up. Like for example, Bob Dylan. Like I just minted a piece on Bob Dylan on OpenSea that I did a while back, and it's like one of these polygram caricatures that I do. And I did some research on him, and like he's got like 10 Grammy awards, a Golden Globe, like Nobel Prize in literature. He's done like 100 concerts a year since 1988. It's like, yeah, of course, like anybody who's always there, performing, like their value is going to go way up.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There was another question that I had. Let's see. Oh, I have I made the name Humanimal. because I wanted something crazy in that space. Like I was thinking I'm gonna get into this NFT space and I'm gonna just like let my shadow self come out and I'm just gonna be crazy, like fuck you,
You
buy my
know,
artwork kind of thing.
I think that's great, but and that's something I noticed as well, like, jumping into this space. You're not the only one. A lot of people are kind of rebranding themselves, or putting a certain persona up on just for the platform
Hmm.
itself, or different platforms. And I think that's great. There's just monikers people are making, you know what I mean? I think my name's is weird enough that, like,
Yeah.
like, for me it's just Salah YK, and I'm just not as imaginative to like create another persona. But I think that's what a lot of people are doing, and it allows people to be really outside their own box, and like, because if it doesn't go well, it's not really, it might not, you don't have to attach it to yourself. But if it does go well, maybe that's your thing. You know what I mean? So you can really experiment. I actually have several. I'm thinking about doing several pages on Hic et Nunc, and just trying different things. Maybe
Hmm.
some things that are more risque, or more like, not for kids or something, and then maybe something that's just caricatures, you know what I mean? And then something that's just um, abstract art. And that's one other thing is, that's been kind of great about, starting these, getting on these NFTs, is allows me to kind of dig, within myself, to see what type of art I can create,
Hmm.
and it's not my main source of income yet. I would love to make money, like make enough money to, and I've seen a lot of people do it. Um, but it's allowed me to like go a lot more abstract, and like experiment with that, experiment with kind of a combination of like figurative and abstract work, and um, lets you do a lot of things. People are collaborating with each other a lot
Yeah, we should
on my
collaborate, man.
platform. Yeah, for sure.
That'd
You
be
know,
awesome.
yeah, I'm definitely down.
I want to
But yeah,
collaborate with you with some kind of motion design. I noticed that you've done some you do like a little bit of animation on there.
so so like that was another thing. Like, I literally went to animation school 10 years ago, or God, 18 years ago, really. Um, and haven't done any type of animation since, like a couple months ago, where I was just doodling, is trying it out. I'm like, oh, that's really fun. And maybe I'll do some animations, maybe I'll like explore that. Where otherwise I would, the, it just, this digital platform allows you to do things that maybe um, the traditional world, or like the the world of like putting prints on a t-shirt, or paper, or anything like that, doesn't allow you to do. So it does open up, more opportunities, like, to be creative. So yeah, I'm kind of open to doing that too in the future. Those things, take a lot of time, but yeah, I'm excited to try that stuff too.
Yeah, the motion design stuff is takes forever, but I would definitely be we could try out something short like maybe a 10-second thing or a 5-second thing. Um, so let's transition a little bit. Yeah. Cool. Well, what was the Oh yeah, we have a question actually from somebody. Let's see.
Really? Someone actually got a question on?
I have
I'm sure.
one fan.
Yeah.
Um, I think we kind of already answered the question. Let me pop over to it. Where did it go? Okay. I think we kind of talked about this in depth already. How has the NFT space and community changed the way you approach art? So
Mm.
that's one question. And then his other question was, has your move back to Hawaii changed your approach to your art or outlook on how you create? And this question is from David Jed.
David, yeah, he's a good buddy. I think he is one of the people that was, getting me, kind of nudging me to do NFTs in the beginning. It's funny because he got me on Clubhouse, and for a month or two, I was like avoiding these NFT rooms. I was like, I don't understand it. It's not for me. It's whatever people are doing, like 3D digital art, but I didn't realize that you could really do any art. And I really love my 2D stuff and, digital painting and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, it is. Maybe it is for me. So yeah, but what was the question? Yeah, like Hawaii. It
Uh,
has actually. I
yeah.
mean, so I think I think both of them are kind of connected in a way. Like I moved from San Francisco to here. In San Francisco, I actually paid for an art studio space, and that was great. I was at Fault Line Studios in Oakland for about a year or so, and that was awesome because I wanted to be around like an art community, and I wanted to have like um, this this community, this vibe, and all that stuff while I'm doing art. And moving back to Hawaii after 18 years, I'm staying at my parents' house for a while. I'm literally in my mom's old room and in the closet. Like this is the green screen is in the closet,
I knew you were in the
and
closet.
I'm
You can
finally
come
telling
out at
everyone,
any time. It's safe now.
right? But so I have my setup. I have like my iPad, my computers, and all that stuff, and I don't really have like space to do painting. Don't have space to like splatter art, you know, ink on the walls and stuff like that. Um, but I'm fine with it. I'm like kind of going with the flow and going where it funnels me towards this digital space where I can literally, you know, make everything on my iPad. I can go to the mall with my iPad. I can make art on there. I can go home and stay here. I stay up all night till like 7 in the morning, often doing
Whoa.
art.
Okay.
Um, yeah, waking up really late as well. Um, but yeah, both things, since I don't have the space that I used to at the moment, and I have more of a kind of portable kind of art studio like that, which I've always kind of wanted to do that. It's just forcing me to go that digital route, which it's been fun. It took like I've always loved doing digital stuff, but I've always loved doing traditional media more, like pen and ink, markers, paint pens, and all that stuff, which I still do love. But I've done I've been concentrating on this so much in the last year that it's second nature really, and it's something I kind of prefer at the moment to do pieces digitally. So um, that's yeah, definitely both of those things kind of helped my view on uh, on my process and what type of art I want to do as well, like doing animation, like we talked about. That's something that maybe I wouldn't have done a year ago because, and without NFTs, because I can't print it on a T-shirt, or I can't hang it on a wall.
Hmm.
And here's one thing I think we forgot about with how people are consuming this art. There's a lot of like metaverse, like what's it called, uh virtual worlds that are being built,
Hmm.
in the metaverse or whatever, and like people are actually buying property on these metaverses where you can buy property next to another art gallery or to another thing, where there's people that when they go into, they click on a link and they can go and see artwork hanging in a virtual space.
Hmm.
There's that. It's not like you want to be in there and like, oh, I'm gonna look at my art in this virtual world, but it's a way to meet people, online. People are able to kind of go into the same spaces and communicate with each other, and kind of enjoy art and maybe buy some art or be inspired to sell it. So there's that. I think there's going to be augmented reality. There's going to be people with, goggles or whatever it is going around, and you'll probably see art up everywhere, like um, an AR mural somewhere, like
Hmm.
just because. So I think there's going to be um, other practical kind of applications
Hmm.
to it, but I but that is something like that's one thing was really like actually starting to collect a few pieces. I have like got 150 pieces or something like that because on Hicket Nunk it's a lot more
Oh, you
manageable.
have that big of a gallery. You have that big of a collection.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
it's kind of addicting, and and it's fun. I wouldn't like expect myself to have fun collecting digital art, but it is
Hmm.
fun, So,
Yeah, it
um,
sounds like it. 100 pieces. That's a lot.
yeah, I mean, I'm not. It's not. I mean, I didn't spend that much on it, but um, yeah, hopefully, maybe prices will go up, or maybe it's really cool to see an artist that might flourish or something like, and you feel like you've had a piece of their their process or their journey. That's pretty
Hmm.
cool,
Yeah.
maybe you saw someone early in their career or something, and it's just like, to me, like going to comic cons and different things. Maybe I'm not gonna buy every $1,000 piece of art that they have, but I might buy like a comic book. Maybe I'll buy like their sketchbook or something like that, or like a signed print, or unique, or like a quick sketch of theirs. And you leave, you go into comic convention and you leave with your goodie bag full of stuff that you've
Yeah.
you felt like you've interacted with different artists and you've met new people, and that's kind of the feel that I see in these platforms
Hmm.
for the regular people, or like the artists kind of collectors. There's a whole
Hmm.
probably other thing for people who are really trying to make money off of it, people who have made tons of money off of Ethereum and Bitcoin, and they want, to either give back to the community, or invest more into NFTs and make more money. I think that's a whole other thing that I'm not concerned of that
Hmm.
much. But for me, just to be able to put art out there. The reason why I started doing NFTs wasn't to make money or anything like that. It was like people are talking about this. There's eyeballs there. Where should my artwork be? And like that's a place that it should be. It should be on these platforms somehow, because there's people that are looking at these platforms that normally wouldn't be, you know, looking at your Instagram, or wouldn't be
Yeah.
looking at this or that. So that's like another reason why I started getting into it, and it's pretty low overhead, for the artist,
Hmm.
so I think everyone should, check it out. They have a
Yeah, I think that
chance.
you made an important point there too, is that there's like this distinction between people who are actually just doing it as a commodity or they're like flipping it somehow, and then there's people that are excited about the concept of, having this digital art space and the idea that you can, have augmented reality murals, and maybe you can even have a collective, like 5 different murals from all the artists in the same collective kind of geo-tagged to this wall. Like that's pretty awesome. And then being able to, I remember it was like 4 years back, I think maybe a few years back, that some major gallery, maybe it was the MoMA or the Louvre, I don't remember, but they went through and recorded all of like they walked through the whole space, and like each painting they got close up, like ultra high definition, and then they put that online, so you could go online and like virtually walk through this gallery and zoom all the way into like every tiny little brushstroke on every one of their pieces of
Mm,
art in the collection, which is pretty awesome. So the
that's
idea
pretty
that you,
awesome.
I mean, that kind of answers the question, like, okay, well, you could, that's where you could hang your digital art, is in the virtual space. But I want to kind of move to a different thing that I wanted to bring up because you're like one of the artists that really maybe begrudgingly at first, but it seems like eventually you kind of adopted like this whole situation. Like after Corona hit, it seems like a lot of people kind of, you know, bled out a little bit, and then eventually, like after they bled out, they're like, all right, I need to like put a splint on and like try to go in this other direction. And so you did like you started the sketch bangers thing, you started streaming on
Oh yeah.
Twitch, you got into the NFT space, and then you have this. I love this phrase like intuitive abstract digital. Like that's pretty awesome. So maybe we could talk about like, and this kind of answers the question from your buddy, or this kind of is like the question recontextualized. But um, I guess how do you feel about like the new direction? Like your work traditionally is really splashy and painty, and you have like 1,000 different, inks and brushes and stuff. So how do you see this like shift in what you've been doing to more digital, and now that you're like kind of an online only artist now, so like where do
Right.
you see that going?
Yeah, I mean, I think even before the pandemic, I was trying to, I've been doing these events for, over 10 years. I've traveled the country, over and over doing different conferences, and even, traveled throughout like Asia and the world and Europe a little bit. And all from caricatures, all doing these like live events, um, which is great, but it's also kind of grueling, and it's also um, like I felt like I really wanted to make my mark, that like something that really represents me more than the service that um the service
Yeah.
that I provide to other
Mhm.
people. You know, I want my own personal body of work, whether it be I think I was talking about putting stuff on T-shirts, putting stuff on prints or whatever merchandise and stuff. I'm just trying to find the place where people can consume my art. And if it's at a fine art gallery, so be it. That would be great. But if it's on a T-shirt, or if it's on a cell phone case, if it's on an NFT, which is on someone's phone, you know what I mean? Like, um, I want to find all these places. And so even before the pandemic, I was looking for that. I was looking for different platforms to put my artwork up, different ways to monetize my art. I was starting to do comic um, convention booths, and dip my toes in the water there. And so I learned a lot about that. And then this NFT space is kind of like the same thing. It's like you have a virtual comic con booth, and you have your own um, products. So on top of that, not just finding something that represents me, it's really like finding the joy in creating again as well. I've always loved drawing caricatures, but there's something that I felt like there's a lot more potential in myself that I can discover and cultivate. So um, these opportunities, the whole pandemic was a huge opportunity to try different things. David, thanks again for getting me connected with codes that we did, like these live Twitch events, um, throughout the pandemic, while everyone was stuck at home and couldn't party. You know what I mean? So that was really cool. And like, yeah, I've been grasping onto different things, Twitch, or NFTs, or whatever's new. It's just really inspiring that there's things out there, and hopefully something will stick, and I'll be able to get a lot more traction on it. But it's allowed me to really explore like I said, like abstract work and just try different things, So it's been exciting. And also the pandemic, it allowed me to reassess like what I was doing in San Francisco. I was kind of, you know, the hamster wheel, and just, I was making money and spending just as much. San Francisco is like the most expensive place on earth. Hawaii is not much cheaper, but you know, I realized like, okay, we're not doing events for a year or more, or who knows, and I'm going to try a different direction. And it was very welcomed. It was like, this is the time to do it,
Mm-hmm.
because um, I think I'll always do some sort of events, and hopefully mostly virtually, because I've been pretty comfortable doing that lately. But I want my second half of my career, what I believe in my career, like to be, more on my terms, and just if I don't do it now, I'll probably never, see what happens, try to
Mm-hmm.
see if I can fail, succeed or fail, whatever, but it's time to try something.
Yeah, I think that's a big benefit from the virus and everything. It, like for me, I kind of, I always stayed up with technology or kind of kept myself somewhat educated about that. And then, but there was always this thing like, well, I'm doing good with the, like I'll get an iPad and I'll try the Procreate app and then, I'll keep working on caricature. And, in the meantime, there was all these new developments happening like, virtual reality sculpture with like tilt brush and then like, Blender and all that. And I was like seeing that stuff. I'm like, yeah, 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 but then when the virus came along, it was like, all right, like now I'm probably like the only traditional thing I'll probably do is just work with clay because I like to work with polymer clay. Um, but aside from that, I'm definitely going to get the Oculus and start doing sculpting digitally. And I've been working on, I just started doing motion design. And so it's kind of like forced me, in a good way, forced me into like just finally starting to adopt these technologies. But, you know, I'm always like, I always find myself in this position where it's like, fuck, I wish I would have done that earlier, like Goro Fujuda. You've probably
Hmm.
seen Goro Fujuda. Yeah, I mean his early stuff is just, he's just experimenting, but he got in it so early and he was like always doing it
I
and
think
then
I
not
was across from him at one of these comic conventions not too long
really.
ago. Yeah, like I think it was Ape Convention like 4 years ago or something like that. But yeah, amazing artist.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean that's what I'm gonna I've pretty much like I guess submitted to the fact that I'm gonna be mainly a digital artist now. I mean, aside from drawing on the bridge, my studio work's gonna be pretty much all digital, especially getting into motion design. You can do some stop motion stuff, but mainly it's done on After Effects and stuff. And yeah, I mean, some of the stuff that's coming out now, it's like, dude, you just can't ignore it. Like they're coming out with like virtual reality movies, and the Unreal Engine 5 is just like blowing my mind away. You just can't ignore the technology now. Like augmented reality is definitely going to be more of a thing. So
I
yeah.
need to get the Oculus too. I've been wanting to. I get motion sickness
Oh.
easily, and I can't be in virtual reality for too long at a time. But I think those things kind of take some just practice, and get acclimated to it. But that's definitely the future in so many ways. And if not virtual, it's augmented reality is the future.
Mhm.
Um, it'll it'll be crazy. I mean, there'll be art up, there'll be cool stuff, and there'll be way more ads. That's everywhere probably.
Yeah.
Just any kind of surface they can think of, or anything that put in front of your face. You know what I mean? Like they'll
Yeah,
just
that's gonna suck.
blind you
Yeah.
with that stuff. And you'll pay money. You'll pay money for that not to be there. you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, please let it stop. I'll pay anything.
So what's your plan moving forward? Like, do you have a plan for this year or a 5-year plan, or what's on the horizon?
Yeah, 5 year. I don't know about that, but plan number one, get out of my parents' house
I was just gonna say
for the
that.
second time in my life. But no, it's been good here. My parents are, they're getting that age. My dad'll be 81 soon. My mom will be
Whoa.
like 78 soon. So it's good that I'm here. I'm really all these things kind of benefited, like where I am in my life, and I'm really enjoying being in Hawaii too. I was scared of moving back for years. Like there was a time for 18 years in San Francisco, I'd come back every summer or Christmas or something like that, and loved it. But I was so happy to go back to San Francisco now that I think San Francisco to me is kind of over at the moment. So I'm sure it'll reflourish and stuff like that, but not with the same friends that I had. And um, it's just time to move on. But so I'm excited to be here in Hawaii and hopefully, you know, um, plant roots here and try to figure out, how to get into more of the local art scene here as well. And I
Yeah, I
think
mean
that's
that's the thing, man. That's the thing about being like your specific kind of demographic in Hawaii. I mean, I have a big advantage of like that in Prague. Like I'm the only, as far as I know, American caricature artist in Prague.
mhm, yeah,
So, I mean, I already have a niche, and for you, I would imagine it's probably not teeming with a lot of young caricature artists in Hawaii,
right,
right?
yeah. And um, I mean, there's caricature, which caricature is always gonna be the lens. I think that I'm that any kind of creation that comes out of me goes through. Whether it's abstract art, whether it's like um, figure painting or figure drawing or anything like that. It's always even the oceans and the animals here and stuff like that. It's always gonna go through like some skewed interesting lens, you know what I mean, as caricature, but not necessarily, a caricature artist. But I think it'll always be me.
Mm.
So, yeah, I forgot, I lost my train of thought, but um, yeah, what was the question? I
We were
forget.
talking about how you were like you had like a unique
Ah,
niche.
right. So there's that, and I'm happy to bring that here, like, or happy to bring my experience in the mainland and traveling and all that stuff back here. And I like that there's a lot of tighter communities here than some other places. So I think it's promising. And I think that coupled with, the kind of expansion of everybody virtually online, you know what I mean? Like having like you and me right now, we're we're talking like saw you a couple years ago in Prague, but it's great to just see and talk to you,
Yeah.
um, in the comfort of my own home in Hawaii. Literally, we're literally the opposite of the Earth
Yeah.
right now, right?
Yeah,
Is it
it's
what time is it?
11:39
It's
a.m. where I'm at.
exactly 11:39 p.m. in Hawaii, right? we, we just have like a telephone like wire goes straight through the earth, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's pretty awesome. So that's what's kind of exciting as well, is to have like online communities of artists and creativity and innovation and different things going on as well, and being able to live where I want to live as well. That was the thing. Why did I? Everyone's like, when they find out I'm from Hawaii, why'd you move? Um,
I get the
oh, I
same
would
thing,
never
yeah.
leave Hawaii. And it's like, because there was no art here back, 18 years ago. Like there was
Yeah.
no, like, I mean, it was, if you drew dolphins and stuff like that, like you'd do all right. But yeah, I had to like go to San Francisco. I wanted to go to the mainland, or, check out the different parts of the world in order to, educate myself. And now everything is like so much more connected with, so like the internet and social media and all that stuff. So
Hmm.
I don't feel like I have to be in one place in order to make my to have a network,
Hmm.
of
Yeah,
artists.
it also frees up, like, for me, like when I think about, oh, I need to move here or I need to move there or whatever, it's like, well, not really. Like I have an income here on the bridge, and then like if I want to go somewhere, I can just like digitally join, or I can just fly there for
Right.
temporarily. Like I don't need to, this space isn't important. But in your case and in my case, like the big advantage of there is like if you did find some investors or whatever, and you started like a caricature place on the, one place on all the popular spots on all the islands, like you
Hmm.
would be the caricature guy. It's like, it's like caricature Japan. He organized and like, he figured it out, and now it's like he is the, like, caricature
Right.
Japan like is where you go. And for me, here in Prague, it's like people go to the bridge, so that's kind of like already where the caricatures are. But for me, like what Manny's doing, for example, driving around the U.S. Um, there's two other American caricature artists here, and they both live in Germany. But aside from them, actually, one of them is the only one that's really like driving around and doing different events. So
You're
basically,
talking
like I
Paul
have
and Paul and
Paul,
Chance, and
Paul
yeah.
Chance. Chance isn't really traveling much. Like he's got some other stuff going on, but basically, like for me, I could outfit a bus and like set up all the festivals, and I could have basically almost all of Europe to myself. So
Hmm. Hmm.
that's the cool thing about caricature, and also kind of like being in a special place or a specific place, is that it's kind of wide open. Like caricature is already pretty niche, and if you're good at it and you have a reputation, then yeah, you can go far with that. So
Yeah.
when you set up your shop in Hawaii, let me know. I'll come over and I'll do a
What?
six
Yeah.
months there or something. Yeah.
The thing is, I mean, Manny's been over here. You can just go on the sidewalk. That you don't need like any um permits or anything like that.
Oh wow.
It's Yeah. So you should come anytime. You know what I mean? I'm definitely, once like I get um traction, I'm definitely going to get my own place, and I want to have enough space to have like people like you, your family come over and stay for a couple weeks or whatever, as long as you want, and like that's
That'd be
that's the
awesome.
thing about being in Hawaii too, is like I've made so many friends around the world, through ISCA, through our caricature convention, um and just living in San Francisco and stuff, that you know half most a majority of my friends left San Francisco as well. They went to Miami, Tennessee, like Ohio, all these places. Um, but we're still in contact, and I feel like I don't have to be in San Francisco to have my friends. I could be in Hawaii and have people hopefully, um, visit me, and just have
Yeah,
like a revolving door of people, because I'm super proud of being from here and living here, and so I'm happy to have people come visit.
yeah, you're in a place where people, you know, they'll definitely come to you first usually. I
Yeah.
can't imagine like, going to Tennessee. Um, it doesn't look like we
Nashville's
have
not
any
bad.
questions on the other group, so it looks like that's all the questions. Cool, man. Well, we're
Cool.
getting at an hour and a half, and we got to go check our baby's hips.
What was your baby's name again?
Zelda,
No way.
Zelda
Really?
May. Yeah,
That's awesome. Wow.
yeah, yeah. She's pretty awesome.
Zelda May, that's awesome. So
Yeah,
yeah, gonna get a bunch of caricatures for Zelda May pretty
yeah,
soon, I'm
yeah.
sure.
We're coming. We plan on coming to Las Vegas.
Yeah, this year.
Yeah.
Let's
You
do it,
going?
man. We
Awesome.
have to, man. Everyone has to. Like,
Yeah,
this is everyone who's able to has to go. You know, I have a
yeah.
storage space in San Francisco too that I need to clear out. So I'll be traveling
Thousand
sometime. Yeah.
$1,000 a month for your storage
I
place.
know, dude.
I remember I was complaining when you guys came over. I was like, man, we pay so much for our apartment now, and you're like, how much you pay? I'm like, it's like $900 a month. And you're like, dude, I pay 2,500 bucks for half the space. I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I paid, yeah, 2 grand, but for that space, like for a I don't know how much it is now. Hopefully it's gone down because of the pandemic, but a studio apartment in San Francisco was going for $2,500 to $3,000.
That's insane, man.
Like, it was laughable. You'd look on Craigslist and be like, "What? Is this a joke?" That's so crazy.
Yeah.
People would be paying, a 3-bedroom house would be paying like easily, $6,000 or whatever, and everyone's just paying like $2,000 just to be in a room in a nice house. It was ridiculous, and so
Yeah.
hopefully there's
Yeah.
definitely been a mass exodus from San Francisco and California.
And Mike, that's what it was. Mike was like paying,
Yeah,
Presley was paying in New
it's the
York.
same thing. He's in like Brooklyn, and so the same
That's
thing.
insane. That's insane. Yeah, I mean, I have this, like the studio space I have now. This is just the corner. Like, in
I love it. This is cool.
I have all my, I have a huge space. This space I have like, yeah, I mean, this is probably the size of a studio apartment, just my studio, and then we have a living room and a bedroom and a kitchen, and so yeah, it's not bad comparably.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool, man. Is there anything you want to promote?
No, I think everything I have is at Salah Yk, SALAHYK.
Mm,
If you go to OpenSea, you can see that Salah YK or Hicketnunk, or actually my Try Showtime account. If anyone goes to tryshowtime.com, I think that's where it kind of collects your Tezos and Ethereum NFTs together, so you can just put them in one place so people can see them.
mm,
So mine is Salah YK there, and
mhm.
also salahyk.xyz has all my links to everything. So yeah, thanks for.
So yeah, we'll put all that stuff in the show notes. And that's the question I have about OpenSea is, can we connect? Can I like go and like your work and we can connect socially?
I haven't been on there for a while, but I think you can kind of like what you can do is get a Try Showtime account. Um, it's free or whatever. You just connect your MetaMask wallet to it, and um, and then your artwork will be on there automatically, right? And so they've kind of they call it like the Instagram of NFTs, and I think it's a great place for people to connect on there. So because all the platforms, like, so you can, it doesn't matter which platform you're on, you can see, and it has links from your NFTs to the platform if someone wants to buy it, or sell or anything like that. So yeah,
Cool.
check, what was it? Yeah, tryshowtime.com, and then mine's is /SalahYK. So yeah, you should
Okay,
get on
cool.
there. We can connect, and
I got
yeah,
a lot of stuff to check out now. I have a bunch of ideas from this conversation. I definitely for real want to collaborate somehow.
yeah.
I'd like to collaborate actually with some motion. Um, so yeah, and I'll send you a link to my get the fuck out of bed bitch piece. It's
What is?
pretty cool.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right
Oh,
on.
yeah, yeah, and I'll send you a link to this. There's this, I don't know if you'll like it or not, but it's like AI rotoscoping. You like feed it keyframes and it like rotoscopes it basically like turns each frame into a painting and then you have this animated
Wow.
painting. It's pretty, yeah, I mean,
Damn.
you'll see it with the Mark Reblay piece that I made. And
Okay.
I also did a quick like 8-second clip from Pulp Fiction, which is also on my OpenSea. So I'll send you a link to that.
Yeah,
Man, it
let's
was great
connect on there
chatting with
too.
you, dude. We should definitely
Dude,
do it
any
again.
yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully this works for you, and yeah, I'm excited to see like more of your podcasts. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah, next time we'll talk more about your actual artwork instead of like educating everybody about NFT.
I feel bad. I feel like, oh, I don't really know much about it. I kind of know, like I said, enough for me to just be involved, but not to like um, explain as much. Hopefully, people understood or can understand what I'm saying. But yeah, feel free to DM me or anything if anyone has questions about what I said or anything about NFTs. I'll do my best to help. You know.
Cool, cool.
So yeah,
All right, Salah Kudari, everybody. The
thanks,
man.
man. Aloha.
All right, brother. Have a good one, man. Nice
You
chatting with
too.
you.